If you're a copywriter, then you know that writer's block is the absolute worst thing ever. It pushes back projects, it's just demotivating, and you end up getting a lot less done. But it doesn't actually have to be that way. I've been writing copy for about 8 to 9 years now, and one of the biggest paradigm shifts I had was using a checklist, something that I can apply to every single project that I'm writing and doing, and it just really speeds up my workflow and makes writing copy a lot more seamless. And in this video, I'll be teaching you a copywriting checklist that you can apply to your own projects to speed up actually how fast you write and work, while also still increasing the actual quality of copy you produce. Companies that dedicate more of their marketing budget to personalization often see up to 2 times more revenue, and this honestly shouldn't be surprising because when you know who you're targeting, you're going to produce way better products, copy, and offers. And that's why in the checklist, the first thing you need to do is define your audience. You want to know their demographics, such as their age, location, and income. But what's even more important is something called psychographics. This includes behaviors, feelings, thoughts, patterns, beliefs, needs, and desires. And that's more powerful to know as a copywriter because a lot of your copy and your actual material is going to be about connecting with them emotionally, targeting their pain points and things like that. So psychographics have way more value and impact as a copywriter. Now, if you're working with a client, you can often ask for their buyer persona, their ideal client profile, branding guidelines, content guidelines, and any other kind of documentation that just really helps you understand who you're targeting. But in case you don't, I recommend looking at things like market reports and industry reports. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars on an IBIS report to get these. There's often a lot of free ones on Google if you just search for a keyword plus market report. Now, you can also go onto social media, Reddit, and forums, and start taking notes on conversations people are having about a particular product, industry, or niche. I also love doing things proprietary and getting primary data, and one of the best ways to do so is with questionnaires and surveys. You can sign up for something like Google Forms completely free. You can create a form asking questions about the customer, their experience with a product, what they like in a brand or the product they're buying, questions that will just help you kind of get into their head, and then you can send that out via an email list directly or on social media. So you know who you're targeting. Number 2 in the checklist is defining the problem you're solving, because everybody buys a product or a service to solve a problem, whether it's really obvious or a bit more subtle. Now, for example, I offer copywriting services for my clients. So really the problem I'm solving is 2 different things. One, they don't know how to write the copy or their content themselves. They don't have a team to do so. They don't have the effort, the skill, or the time. On the other side, I'm solving problems like a lack of traffic, conversions, and revenue. So when I actually am able to note that down and document it, when I'm writing copy for these videos, my website, and different things like that, I can target those specific problems and then present the solution. So for example, on this sales letter for a weight loss offer, you can see that on the copy itself and in the pop-up, they're directly talking about solving the problem of losing weight. Doing this early on in your copy, your advertisements, and other material uses something from neuro-linguistic programming called priming. It essentially primes the reader to let them know that they're in the right place and they finally found a business that gets them and they have a solution. Number 3 is making sure you state the features and the benefits. If you've read any of my blog posts, watched my videos, you know that I constantly drill into this. Features, factual pieces of information, cool, you definitely need those, but benefits are what the features actually do for somebody, and that's what they really want. So I think this Amazon listing for a gaming computer just nails it. So you can see that some of the best lines in the description say up to 30 times faster than a traditional hard drive, capable of running all your favorite games up to high to ultra settings, get amazing performance and image quality while live streaming to Twitch or YouTube. So they essentially take the features of the computer, what it's capable of doing, like the specs and dimensions, but then translate that into actually what the customers are going to experience. And after all, that's what they want. Number 4 is nailing the unique value proposition, because often people aren't going to buy your product if it just blends into the market and it seems like everything else. And that's where the UVP or USP comes into the picture. Now, this is something that's very unique or proprietary about what you're selling, and it's a clear reason why someone should buy from you and not go over to a competitor. And I've mentioned before that there's 2 ways to get a value proposition. One is super obvious. It's just a proprietary formula, material, ingredient, or technology. It's something that literally only you have. It's probably trademarked or patented. And in that case, it's super easy to bring that up in an ad or your copy and just state that nobody else has this and you can't get it anywhere else. But in a lot of cases, you might have a great product or service, but it isn't necessarily proprietary. Something I recommend you do is to drill down really deep into the product or service and find something about it, whether it's an individual material, step, maybe it's how it's made or actually delivered to the customer, and then blow that up and make it the forefront of the advertisement and how you position it. And so what happens is maybe 10, 20 companies all have this same feature, but because you bring it to the forefront, you actually deposition the competition. They all have it, but no one's really talking about it like you do. Number 5 is overcoming and addressing objections, because when people buy something, whether it's conscious or subconsciously, they're probably going to object to things you're saying and that's on the page. This might be about shipping, returns, having a refund policy, some of the claims you're making about what the product or service can do. And what's really important is to study the customer. And if you go back to step 1 in the checklist, this will take care of itself. You will really understand what they're going to be skeptical of. And what I want you to do is to make sure in your advertisement, whether it's a sales letter, blog post, anything, is address these objections ahead of time. So for example, a lot of people, like I mentioned, are probably going to wonder about the guarantee, the refund policy, shipping, warranties. Bring that stuff up in the copy, so before they can object to it and pause, they can just read the copy really smoothly, get to the end, and end up converting. Also, something I recommend is adding an FAQ page at the bottom of the page. This is really good for sales letters and sales pages, and you can answer things about refund, shipping, and there's other things they're probably going to object to. Number 6 is using plenty of calls to action. It's probably the simplest and most effective copywriting strategy there is, and every single page needs a main call to action. And you're probably going to have several on a page, but it should always be geared towards one action. For example, maybe on a landing page, you really want people to opt in and get that lead magnet or sign up for a newsletter. Make sure every call to action, whether it's text or a button or a video, points to that one action. And it should be a word or a phrase that tells them what to do, like sign up here, click here, sign up today, or join our newsletter. Once again, you need to tailor it to the exact page and goal, but every single page needs that one main call to action, but don't be afraid to throw in a few throughout the page. For example, if you look at actually my personal website, I have a call to action above the fold, and then also have one deeper down the page, so as someone scrolls, they don't have to go all the way back up to click that button. Number 7 is having a clear offer. So now the offer isn't necessarily the product or service. It's not the feature, it's not the benefit. It's actually the total package. It's the product's features, it's the benefits, it's the pricing, it's how they order it, it's the guarantee, the value proposition. It's pretty much the entire thing you're offering to someone, where you can honestly summarize it maybe in one paragraph. And if you go to a lot of really good sales letters and sales pages, normally near the end before the main call to action, where you buy it, there's going to be a summary of that, and that is the offer. Because a lot of people will just scroll right to the end of the page, or if they even read it all word for word, they're probably going to forget some things along the way. So if you can re-summarize it, it'll just help with the conversions. Next up is having a guarantee. So pretty similar to the objections I was talking about, one of the biggest objections is a warranty or guarantee, because people love spending money and buying things, but they do prefer to be more risk-free, where if they need a replacement product or they'd like to get their money back, they can do that, and it just provides a lot of mental relief and clarity. So one of the things I always recommend is offering a 30-day money-back guarantee, and a lot of places is actually legally mandatory, so make sure to check that where you live and where you're selling a product. But in many cases, you don't actually necessarily have to, but I still recommend it not only for the customer, but just for conversions and performance. It just gives them that mental relief and allows them to buy it without worrying. But it doesn't have to be a money-back guarantee. There's also warranties, and that's really good for tech, equipment, physical products, just in case they do have to replace that. And also satisfaction guarantees if you can provide some kind of guaranteed result or performance with what you're selling. If you want to learn more about this checklist and get more strategies and examples, make sure to go into the description and get my full blog post that details this checklist and a lot more. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel. Let me know below in the comments if there's any kind of videos or topics you'd like me to cover. And other than that, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.